Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's show, we're going through a Knicks Q&A. I'm going to answer all you guys' questions on the latest Knicks news and rumors. This aired on our live show that goes down every single Wednesday at about 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. So subscribe and turn your notifications on so you can join us for the next party. Jason B. with a $50 super chat, an official real one. He says, what about Randle, Fournier, and Reddish to LA for Westbrook and a first-round pick? Would you do it, and would you play Westbrook? Great question, Jason B. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would trade Randle, Fournier, and Reddish to go to LA and get back Westbrook and a first-round pick. But I would buy out Russell Westbrook. I don't want to see him play for the New York Knicks at all. Like, I was on the phone with my brother last week after the Knicks Live, and he asked me this, literally the same exact question, Jason B. It's kind of wild. He said, would you keep Russell Westbrook? And he started talking, and he talked himself into keeping him. And I told him, you know what? You can talk yourself into keeping Russell Westbrook. Come off the bench, be an energy guy, play 20 minutes, do this, do that. But by game 5, by game 10, you are going to have a migraine watching this guy play basketball. He just not a good winning basketball player anymore. He once was. He was, a multi-time MVP, average a triple-double for 3 seasons, but there's just no need for him on this Knicks team. I would buy him out 100%, but Jason B., I would do that deal, and I think the Lakers would do that deal as well. You get a shooter in Evan Fournier, you get a project in Cam Reddish, and you get Julius Randle, who's a better basketball player at this point than Russell Westbrook. I would do it, but I would buy out Westbrook. I don't want to see him on this basketball team at all. Steven Vargas, Jalen Brunson is taking the Knicks to the playoffs. I think the Knicks hover right around being a playoff or a play-in team. The Eastern Conference is loaded right now, and teams have gotten better this offseason. The Hawks, they added DeJounte Murray. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they added, not even going to say his name, you know who they added. But I think Jalen Brunson is the type of guy that can change the fortune of this basketball team. The New York Knicks won 37 games last year with Alec Burks as their starting point guard, and Jalen Brunson is twice the player, maybe even 3 times the player that Alec Burks is, especially at the point guard spot. Jalen Brunson was the second best player on a team that went to the Western Conference Finals and took the Warriors, I think, to 6 games. Had a 40-point playoff game against the Jazz on Donovan Mitchell without Luka Doncic, averaged 30 in that series without him. No doubt, Jalen Brunson's a great player. I don't know if he's ready to take us to the playoffs yet, though. I think we're definitely a play-in team. I don't know about a play-off team. The worst triangle, what other Randle or Fournier trades are there other than the Westbrook thing? I don't know. I've heard some rumors about the Suns maybe being interested in Julius Randle. Not really sure if that makes all that much sense. What about the Hornets? They need a power forward. They had that one guy who did the absolute criminal stuff where I'm not even going to say what he did because he's a shithead, but maybe they need a power forward to replace him. If there was a Julius Randle trade on the table, the Knicks would have already taken it. The thing is, I'm not sure there is a Julius Randle trade. The question now becomes, will the New York Knicks attach a first-round pick to Julius Randle to move off of him? And I am in the camp that you do not do that. If you weren't willing to add future first-round picks to go and get Donovan Mitchell, you better not add a first-round pick to get off of Julius Randle. And honestly, I kind of want to see Randle play with Jalen Brunson. Randle played his best basketball with Derrick Rose on the court, a real point guard. I think Jalen Brunson's the type of guy that can get the most out of Julius Randle. I mean, that's what point guards do. They put you in spots to be effective, easy scoring positions. A pick and roll, pick and pop with Brunson and Randle, that intrigues me a little bit. I'm not willing to dump Randle for nothing, but if we can trade him by not having to add a future first round pick to do it, I think I would do it. But I do still want to see him play with Brunson, so I'm kind of in the middle. Kyle, what's your favorite jersey you own? Carmelo Anthony. I got the blue Carmelo Anthony jersey back when I was in high school. I love Carmelo. I think what he did for the Knicks was awesome. If there was a guy that was named LeBron James, didn't play in the Eastern Conference, I think Carmelo Anthony would have been the best player in the conference. He just played in an era where maybe the best basketball player ever played, maybe the second best player ever played. And I don't think the Carmelo Anthony trade was a failure. I think it was the moves following that failed the Knicks, like not amnestying Amari Stoudemire and amnestying Chauncey Billups and trading for Tyson Chandler and not including Iman Shumpert and a Kyle Lowry trade, trading for Andrea Bargnani, never getting a real point guard to go along with Carmelo Anthony. I don't think it was the trade that sets the Knicks back. It was the dumb decisions and the lack of moves that transpired after the trade that sets the Knicks back. I do that Carmelo Anthony trade every single day of the week. He was the best player in that deal by far, and the Knicks didn't give up a lot of draft capital. My favorite Knicks t-shirt, though, is this puppy right here. Real one. Get yourself a real one t-shirt if you're a real one. Go to chatsports.com/realknicks. Go to chatsports.com/realknicks. Get your real one Knicks Now t-shirt. We don't have to go to this one yet. Get your shirt, and if you get the shirt, take a picture of yourself in it and send it to me on Twitter @MarshallGreen_, and we'll put you up on the show. Joel Santos, my guy, how confident you think these Knicks players to go out and win big with a legitimate point guard? What is your record in seeing for the East? Number 5 wins is allowed. I think a lot of people are confident, right? I mean, if you are a player on the New York Knicks, you're RJ Barrett, you're Julius Randle. You got to be coming in this season with a chip on your shoulder. RJ, the Knicks offered you in multiple trades for Donovan Mitchell. Julius Randle, the fan base has turned on you. Both those guys are coming into this season with a chip on their shoulder. And they're having a guy like Jalen Brunson come into this lineup that's supposed to make the job and life of theirs easier. So I think the Knicks players are motivated. I think they're confident. I don't know about win big. I think they can compete for a playoff spot. I think they're closer to a play-in team. And what is your record in seeding for the East? I think the Knicks can win 43 games. And I think they're anywhere from a 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th seed. That's where I see the Knicks playing out. It always just comes down to health and how you're rolling at the end of the season. I think about 43 wins for this Knicks team. But I want to take the pulse of you because Vegas has the win total for the New York Knicks in 2022 as 39.5 wins. What do you think? 39.5 wins for the New York Knicks this year. Type O for over, type U for under. Sound off in the comments right now. King, what's up, bro? Give me your 1 through 10 starters bench minus Randle and Fournier. Okay, minus Randle and Fournier. Well, this is what I think the starting 5 is going to look like. You got Brunson at the 1, Grimes at the 2, Barrett at the 3, Randle at the 4, and Mitchell Robinson at the 5. I think Quentin Grimes has a lot of pressure on him because he was the guy the New York Knicks did not want to involve in a trade. Your bench, you got Quickly, Rose, Reddish, Fournier, Toppin, Hartenstein, Sims. I already took Fournier out of the starting lineup and replaced him with Quentin Grimes. If you trade Randle, I think Obi slides into that spot. And then your bench becomes Quickly, Rose, Reddish, Hartenstein, and Sims. That's what I think the lineup would look like. That's what I am expecting the starting 5 to be this upcoming season. Anthony Smith, Marshall, do you think the New York Knicks could trade for DAngelo Ball? I don't know who DAngelo Ball is. There's LiAngelo, and there's LaMelo, and there's Lonzo. If you mean LiAngelo Ball, no, the Knicks are not trading for him. If you mean LaMelo Ball, the Hornets aren't trading him. And if you mean Lonzo Ball, the Bulls ain't trading him. So no, not a chance, Anthony Smith. But Anthony, I appreciate your question, and the reason we put your question up on the show today is because you're a subscriber. The only questions we put up on these mailbags are questions from subscribers. So if you love the Knicks and you're looking for a one-stop shop on YouTube that does nothing but cover the New York Knicks and posts a video every single day, hit that big red button. Help Knicks Now get to 14,000 subs. We're doing it for our guy Mace. Eric Noah, do you think Jalen Brunson can be an all-star? Absolutely. I think Brunson's going to average 20-plus points this year. He averaged 21.5 points in the playoffs with Luka Doncic on his team. And now that he's going to be the lead dog and the primary ball handler, could he average 23, 24 points per game in the regular season? I am a little bit concerned, though, because Jalen Brunson with the Dallas Mavericks last year had a lot of success in a 5-out offense. And what does that mean? 5 guys on the perimeter, the paint in the mid-range clear for room to operate. That's where Jalen Brunson does a lot of his work. When you have bigs that don't shoot, like a Mitchell Robinson, I know Hartenstein can shoot a little bit, but he doesn't shoot a lot of threes. He can stretch the floor a little bit. Or a guy like Jericho Sims, you kind of pack the paint a little bit. That's my biggest concern with Brunson. But at the end of the day, the guy's a winner. He's a hooper, and he's someone that I want on my basketball team. I think he can absolutely be an all-star this year. Knicks haven't had a point guard like him since 2004, Stephon Marbury. This Knicks fan base is going to fall in love with Jalen Brunson. Remember, fan vote's a big part of being an all-star. I think the Knicks fans are going to rally around our guy, JB. Felix, are we trading Julius? Great question. I think there's a chance, right? But there's got to be a person or a team willing to take on Julius Randle. I also believe that if there was a Julius Randle trade on the table that the Knicks deemed worthy, they would have already made the trade, right? But let's remember, what does this Knicks regime value? They value value. And what does that mean? They like to recreate and rehab people's value. They didn't want to trade Kemba Walker early on in the season because they wanted to rehab his value. They didn't want to trade Julius Randle because they wanted to rehab his value. They didn't want to trade Evan Fournier early on because they wanted to rehab his value. They value value. Hope that makes sense. They value getting the best deal. And if a Julius Randle trade that they deemed valuable enough, they would have already made that trade. I think if a trade presents itself, like the one that Jason B talked about with Reddish, Fournier, and Randle for Westbrook and a first-round pick, I think the Knicks would do it. I think it just depends on if the Lakers would do it. If a trade comes, though, and the Knicks deem it as valuable, they'll make that trade. Shout out to William Powell. Pow! 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 Name the movie in the comments section. William, $5 super chat, my guy. What up, Marsh? Hope you're feeling a little better after last week. I am. The emotions are gone. I'm not mad, but I'm like disappointed. Because, you know, like when you mess up as a kid and your dad and your mom sits you down, they're like, Johnny, I'm not mad at what you did. I'm just disappointed. That one hits deep. That's where it's like, shit, I messed up. That's kind of what I feel like with the Knicks not trading for Donovan Mitchell. I'm not mad. I understand why they didn't do it. It would have been a lot. And I wouldn't have given up RJ and multiple first-round picks. RJ would have been off the table completely for me. But I'm over it, but I'm still a little bit disappointed. Because, look, he wanted to be in New York. He wanted to be a Knick, a superstar in this league. Wanted to be a Knick, and we didn't make it happen. All that means, though, is the next time a superstar becomes available, Leon Rose better frickin' get it done. Danny Becker, last question on this mailbag. Do you think Tibbs is aware that Quentin Grimes has a better three-point percentage than Fournier? Yes, but he doesn't nearly have the same volume. Fournier set the Knicks record for most threes made this season. And I think of all the people that made more than 200 three-pointers, it was Steph, it was Fournier, and it was one more guy. Fournier shot the best percentage of all of them. Fournier's not a bad player, but he's taking up minutes from guys that I want to see play, like Cam Reddish and like Quentin Grimes. And I want to see other young players play. I like Fournier. He's a good shooter. He's a good scorer. But he can't play defense for shit. And that's why, in my opinion, I don't think he's that valuable an asset on this team. But speaking of Fournier and speaking of Grimes, remember, Grimes is a Tom Thibodeau guy. Danny Becker, he's absolutely a Tom Thibodeau guy. Thibodeau pushed very hard in the draft to go and get Fournier. Thibodeau pushed for the Knicks, Thibodeau pushed for the Knicks to draft Quentin Grimes very hard, and he pushed really hard for the Knicks to keep Grimes. He loves him. I think he's going to start. I'll ask you, though, who starts this year? Type 13 for Fournier, 21 for Reddish, or 6 for Quentin Grimes. Also, give me a follow over on Twitter at MarshallGreen_. Everyone that follows me from this video, I'll follow you back. Just this is what you got to do. This is all you got to do to get a follow back. Go underneath the video, click the share button, tweet it out, and tag me on Twitter, and I'll follow everybody back that does so.